To be strong, I believe you have to be strong in a different area mentally before physically you can see how strong you are. I think it was Marcus Aurelius or some other philosopher. He says, "What a shame it is for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable of." Ever since I started training, when I was like 15, I think, um, I've always had this gifted mindset of seeing the world or seeing how I get things differently. And I think that's been a great help in me getting everything I've wanted in calisthenics and in life in general. So I think this video will be mainly towards the people who are wanting to achieve a certain level in calisthenics or just someone young that's starting out. Ever since I grew up, I've always been wanting to be the strong guy or known as the strong guy just because I take after my dad's genes and he's the strongest guy I know. Even if it's at school, even if it's dealing with bullies or people trying to squabble with me just for taking their girl in high school, I've always been known as the strong guy. And it really only happened like during high school, right when I started, and I just peaked up since then. I just got, I got good genetics. I mean, I'm not that tall. I'm 5'6", 5'7" on a good day, but in terms of like strength gains, like I have to say, I'm pretty cracked at it. I believed internally ever since I started doing calisthenics. Even when I was on the pull-up bar, and I was struggling, like my arms were burning just from holding up the support hold on top of the pull-up bar. I still had this internal belief in my head where it's just like, I'm going to be doing muscle ups with ease. I had the image is so crystal clear in my head when I started working out. Like, even before I built the pull-up bar in my backyard, before when I found a park good enough to work out in, before I could planche, one arm muscle up, handstand, whatever the hell it is, before I could do all those moves, I always had this internal belief and mindset to where I felt like I've already achieved it and I've already done it. It's almost a level of obsession. And also a great movie, if you haven't seen it. Me and the homegirls watched it, kind of hilarious. In whatever goal or pursuit you have, there has to be a level of almost mental space it takes up in your head. And this really goes for like people who are trying to reach the tippity top of whatever you want to do in life or whatever skill you want in calisthenics. And I would daydream in lunch, in school, while after I finished my work, I had time. I would plug my headphones on and I would just put music on one tab and put a calisthenic video on the next one. And I would just be locked in. Just like this. I was a freshman too, and I looked weird. People thought I was just gay. I was like, no, I was just studying. I guess it was the autism where it was just like I was hyper focused, seeing a bunch of shirtless muscular dudes doing crazy calisthenics moves. So they were just doing planches. So I would be like, okay, this guy does planche like this. His hands are a little turned out. Or I'll see, okay, this guy, his feet are a little crossed up like this. Does that help him in a certain way? And then I would take notes. Or I would see just a bunch of people. They would, I would study calisthenics very diligently. And in my head, whenever it was like kind of chill, I'd put on the music again, and I would just in my head. I would freestyle on the bar. It's basically like manifesting, I guess, but in my head, I felt the move. I felt the calisthenics skill I wanted to do. I felt it like as if I did it, and I believed internally that I am gonna get it. I have it. I'm gonna do it. There's no I can't. There's no I try. There's no I haven't. It's just I have, and if I haven't yet, I'm going to do it. Whether it was years later when I finally had the land to fucking put a pull-up bar in, whether I had the money to, drive to a gym, get some reps in, or whether I had the space or the time to even train diligently in the first place. And even when I was in high school, I was waking up at 5 a.m., doing a couple hundred push-ups, a couple hundred pull-ups, whatever the hell, because I was extremely dedicated. And it was an unhealthy relationship I had with calisthenics to a certain point. But that's kind of like what you have to do in certain cases if you really, because I really want to be the best calisthenic athlete ever. Right now I don't really care, but I know back then I had that mentality of just like, I feel it, I see it, I can picture it, and I think that's what helped me the most achieve everything. Before I did a workout, the best workouts, a lot of them I don't plan them, but some of the best workouts the night before, I'm just picturing and seeing it. Okay, I'm doing the handstands on the pull-up bar. I'm doing one-arm pull-ups as a superset. I'm doing weighted muscle-ups with over 50 pounds. I'm picturing all these moves, and, over time, seeing it so many times, your brain kind of views it as practice. So I guess it can't really tell, but I'm always practicing in my head on what I'm doing in the calisthenic move. And that boosted my progress because my brain already thought that I was able to do it. And it's way easier to do a calisthenic move when you think you can do it already. It kind of just like skips a step and you can just do it. I think that with the mentality of just like picture yourself doing it and don't think that you can't do it just because you're too fat, you're too skinny. It doesn't matter. There is a way to do the move, get what you want, whether it's the money, the girls, the strength, the looks. It is possible. The most important thing is the consistency. I've been at it for almost 8 years now, and I'm pretty satisfied with the level I'm at. I don't really have an urge to train hard. I just do it for fun. But there was a time when it consumed a rather large portion of my life, which did pull me back from social relationships, which I wish I would have maintained, because there's always going to be time to work out. But friends, you don't know when they're going to die, and I've had to learn that a few times, unfortunately. But for back to calisthenics, all it takes is the consistency, bro. There are plenty of people who are good at calisthenics and they're not more talented than you or have better genetics. They simply just maintained the consistency of training hard. Sorry, I'm a little tired, but I just thought this video would be useful. I think to be whatever you want, you have to be that first internally. So whenever someone would tell me I'm strong, whenever someone tell me I can do this, or like, oh, you're very skilled, not in an arrogant way, I'd be like, I know. And that sounds cocky. It is kind of. It's just, if you're really good at calisthenics, you kind of have to be a tiny bit of an ADHD narcissist, because you have to be willing to put yourself out there to be seen as someone possibly extraordinary. And it's not like we're doing something incredible. We're just putting our body in like different phases, different planes of gravity. But everybody knows that if you're good at calisthenics, you are the shit. Who the fuck is out here doing one-arm weighted muscle-ups? Who's doing handstands? People can't even conceptualize doing muscle-ups. And when you see a guy doing 20 plus or doing it with 70 pounds, it catches eyes, catches contact, because everybody knows it is way harder to do calisthenics than it is to weightlift. To get fit, to get strong, just doing pull-ups and push-ups, it takes a lot of work and dedication. And then you take it to a whole new level where you're really good at the skills, it's going to catch some attention. So you have to be willing to be seen. And not only be seen, but also potentially make others feel insecure. Because when you shine so bright, people will then feel like you're shining too much on them. And so that can't happen. And you have to have the courage to be like, yeah, and I put in the work and I earned this. And years of playing the same scene in my head, now it's finally catching up to reality. So I hope that video helps. Kind of a bit of a yap session. It's just like, I feel like to be strong, you have to be strong. Or whatever it is, Rich, you got to have it internally first and then maintain the consistency until the world proves it to you. Prove it to yourself first before the world proves it to you, I guess.